There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat-panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
I'm there in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
It is Saturday night, race 9 here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and we welcome race fans, one and all, to this beautiful 1.5 mile speedway on this Saturday night for the iRacing Stock Car Association round number 9 of the Tucson Sound Art Cup Series here for the final season of 2021 and the Cracker Barrel 200. My name is Dola Rempel. I've got, of course, Alfonso King beside me in the commentary box with Rob Melnick down behind the cameras for tonight's race. So we swing back 2.5 mile racing here, Al, and it should be a very good race up ahead of us in this one. It has been a phenomenal, season so far with all the action we've been seeing, especially, with that last race at Phoenix just 1 week ago. We should find ourselves with a very solid race for 134 laps here tonight.
134 laps. Hopefully most of those laps will be under green flag racing, and as we'll be able to see who's actually going to be able to put it into the books for the championship.
And, of course, you look over at the championship and how the point standings shake on up. Chris Johnson still leads coming into today. 43 points clear from Kenny Powell. It's only going to take one race, though, where Johnson doesn't show up, though. It's a real Kenny Powell right back into the fray. Frank Flores still somewhat ways back, 75.5 points behind your current points leader. So it is a pretty spaced out field at the moment for the Tucson Sound Art Cup Series. I'd say the closest battle you got for actual points positions could actually potentially be further down the field between Paul Olson and Gary Adamson, which would be for 5th place in points. Just 12 separating those two drivers. And, of course, right behind, you can, of course, have Adamson and Robert Pattengill. 5.5 points separating those two drivers. But, of course, Pattengill has been a no-show for the last few races. You wonder if maybe he'll be returned to see if he can hold on or maybe go up and try to get a top 5 spot throughout these remaining races in the season. Of course, you got the 134 laps getting set to kick things off tonight. 200 miles of the Cracker Barrel 200 at the Homestead Miami Speedway. 3 stages, as always, throughout the course of the night. Stage 1 ends at the end of lap 30. Stage 2 at the end of lap 65. 5 tire sets, as we're used to seeing. Estimated 46 laps. So just like the Thursday race of the Bucket Cup Series, we will not be seeing fuel play a factor until that final stage, where we could be seeing pit stops potentially as late as 20 laps left to go in this race. So qualifying is presently underway here. Travis Manning currently tops the timing boards. Who do you think we should look out for in this qualifying session now for guys that have not qualified yet to potentially give Manning the run for his money up at the top?
Well, I was watching Adamson a little bit during practice, and it seemed like he was running pretty good, so I'd like to see where he actually comes up on the board, as well as Kenny Powell.
It'll definitely be an interesting situation, to say the very least, to see if these guys will be able to work their way up towards the front of this thing. You've got Travis Manning, of course, running the field, and we take a look back to that 0-1 entry of Joshua Watson. Run around at his second lap. His first lap, fast enough for 6th place with the 32.4 dead. Trying to see if he can maybe punch his ticket up into the top 5. He has to gain about 1/10 of a second to do so. It is Adrian Watts. He's trying to compete against his JBR teammate. Coming across the line of his second lap. It is faster, and that is just going to be good enough for P5. So with qualifying said and done, we'll take a quick step away here. We'll take a rundown for your national anthem. We'll be back with you live for your starting grid here in just a few moments.
Start your engines!
We are back live here from the Homestead Miami Speedway for the Cracker Barrel 200. Travis Manning starts this up on pole position with Chris Johnson down in second place. Greg Wyszynski starts third with Josh Schaffner in fourth. Watson is in fifth place with Adrian Watts in sixth. Joshua O'Connor seventh. Regni in eighth. Frank Flores is ninth place with Kenny Powell down in 10th. Richard Elliott is 11th place with Gary Adamson in 12th. Jay Hone 13th. Chris Rivera in 14th. And, of course, Paul Olson, Martin Bourquet, Brian Watson round out the 17-car field today. And field launched a bit earlier than we quite expected here. And you can see everybody trying to see if they can get a run. Greg Wyszynski stopped on the starting grid. So the number 5 car going to have to scramble here if he wants to catch up to the field. Everybody having to pass by the 5 car who is still stopped on pit road. So we're going to have to see if this start will even go green here or if they're going to have to hold it one.
Yeah, wondering what's actually going on with the 5 car. He was having a little bit of trouble during practice as well. Hopefully those are just internal technical issues, and he'll be able to get that thing running so we can go green.
Whatever the issue is, we are about to get this thing up for green flag racing here in this race. Field going to be coming around through turns 3 and 4. Looks like this is going to go green. Pace car down to pit road. It's a very sparsely packed field as we say, let's go racing for the Cracker Barrel 200. And the caution flag flies before they even get to start finish. And I have a solid feeling that that is because the field was not stacked up and ready to go. So the caution flag flies. The restart waved off, but the green flag had already dropped. So this race technically already underway. But they didn't even make it past our finish here, Al.
Hey, I tell you what, the pace car is definitely looking like he's going to lead the most laps if we can't get this thing going green.
So with ourselves under this caution for the first time today, still waiting for the official green flag to drop. We'll take a quick step back, and we'll hopefully be with you for the first proper restart in just a few moments. So for those that are a bit confused with what's going on, a bit of a mishap on the start procedure. Usually the starts do get delayed somewhat. That was not the case today. Just a bit of a mishap here on this race start. So they have reset themselves in the order they were when qualifying concluded. And we'll try this race start again. There will be 3, make it 4, less laps in this opening stage. The one discrepancy, Joshua Watson down pit road. He's now 3 laps down here, Alfonso.
And I'm not sure what was going on with Joshua, as he is indeed slipping further and further away. So we're going to see how that team manages their misfortunes as we get ready to go green here.
Getting ready to go green. This could be an interesting race coming up for us in just a few moments' time as field gets set to pull it down and in.
71 cars off.
He is. Martin Bourquet having some issues of his own. He has taken the tow back to pit row, making it a 15-car start here for this second restart. Pace car going to pull down, and this time we'll say, let's get this Cracker Barrel 200 underway for the Homestead Miami Speedway. We're green flag racing.
As Travis Manning leads the field into turn 1.
Travis Manning leads the way, cleared by a couple car lengths already from Chris Johnson, just behind, side by side of the battle for third. Wojcinski and Schaffner looking to do battle. Josh Schaffner, one of his first ever starts here in this Tucson Sound Art Cup Series, trying to have a good outing for himself here. And he's already up into third place, so a great start from him so far today. Watch out for Wojcinski.
A little loose down on the inside apron.
That was Joshua O'Connor you saw poking his nose down on the apron. Got him inside with 3 and 4. Good call on that one. Having a big moment. Got into the apron as well. Used that apron, though, to get his car back under control. It's very easy to get loose here early on in these races. Good thing, though, that O'Connor wrestled that thing back.
Yeah, the big thing about these cars, they generally need 2 or 3 laps in order to get those tires up to race temperature.
It's always going to take a couple of laps. The Homestead Miami Speedway, of course, is very unique in that regard, isn't it? I mean, you got the progressive banking, 18 degrees at the bottom, 20 degrees up near the top. It can make it a rather treacherous racetrack to race at, especially on the cold rubber. It's not the hottest track in the world, right? Only 78 degrees Fahrenheit, which means it is definitely a cool track surface they're racing on. It's going to be more difficult to get the track or to get these tires up to temp, especially as we get set to race into the evening. That'll be something to watch out for on the next restarts.
Definitely, tire saving is going to be the key in this. 30 laps in the session. Not a lot on those tires, but at this track, depending on how well you manage it, could turn out to be a factor.
You saw the pass completed by Paul Olson. We're going to flip into 12th place from Jay Hone. That was one completed, and now we get to see what could this race potentially have for us later on in this race. Bourquet, by the way, has retired his car, logged his first DNF on the day, so that leaves 15 drivers out there on the lead lap. Watson still in pit road. He is also down in the lane still, and I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing Joshua Watson will be sitting down on pit road for quite some time. He was likely our second retirement on a restart and mishap, unfortunately, at the start of this race. Look up the field here a little bit towards the mid-pack. I'm watching 5th place Adrian Watts trying to hound the back end of Greg Wojcinski. He's got Frank Flores just in behind him, but JBR potentially trying to give gas a go, run for his money here, Al.
Definitely going to see if he's just going to sit back or if he's actually going to be a little bit more aggressive as he tries to put that nose on the inside or at least disturb that air.
So far, not quite able to, I think, get the run that Watts was looking for. We'll have to see if he'll be able to pull his way back up, but keep one eye open for the Shake and Bake driver, Frank Flores, just behind him. That 28 Dent Wizard Chevrolet has been looking mighty speedy these past couple of races. He's kind of in the middle of this pack as well, isn't he? You got Adrian Watts just up front, and it's Chris Severa tucked in just in behind him. His number 62 Cancer Awareness Ford Mustang. So Severa looks like he might be trying to make a charge up, but for Flores, can he open up the door coming into turn 1 to see if he can make him a spot on the Adrian Watts at the battle for 5th? Looks like he'll have to tuck back in line here down the front straightaway.
Side-by-side racing as we enter into the turn. The 24 cars trying to move up the racetrack a little bit. Kenny Powell pushing that car from Carolina.
And Flores this time, You can see just up in front of Kenny Powell, able to find the inside this time now on Adrian Watts. Two great battles going on in the same camera shot here. Flores with the charge from the bottom. He'll pick his way up now into the 5th position. If Adrian Watts falls back for the outside, Powell looking 3 wide for the middle, but backs out and instead tucks in behind Adrian Watts from the outside line. 3-1 typically doesn't work here at a track like Homestead, especially when you got that little space in between. But Frank Flores now going to be clear to potentially see if he can charge his way up to Greg Wyszynski, but I have a feeling he's going to have to focus all on defense to keep guys like Kenny Powell behind him.
Yeah, definitely you're going to try to figure out if Powell wants to run that low line, if he's more interested in running the high line. Some drivers just can make it work. As these tires get a little bit older, though, it's going to be interesting to see where that driving line ends up.
So we continue to watch, see as this battle develops from 5th on back to about the 7th or 8th place. All 4 cars still under a blanket. It's a top 2 breakaway, 3rd and 4th of their own little train. And then, of course, you got everybody else looking to see if they can run themselves throughout a good running here. Powell forcing the issue down the inside of the Shake and Bake Chevrolet. And that Toyota Camry is going to find itself now up into P number 5. Flores slips back 1 into P6. Heads up, Chris Severa. Does he make it 3 wide to the inside? Ups against it. A lot of time still left in this race. Chris Severa realizes this. He's choosing his battles wisely.
Absolutely, lots of racing left. And we're going to see, it was interesting to see how much they were going to push that issue. Flores is going to need to maintain his position, so he probably is going to get his elbows out a little bit. I don't think they're going to want him to fall too far back.
So Flores is going to have to work a little bit harder now. See if he can potentially run down Chris Severa just up in front of him there. Got Kenny Powell looking to see if he can run away up to his teammate Greg Wyszynski up the road in that battle for 3rd place. You can see that battle for 3rd at the moment. Wyszynski has been steadily trying to close on up to Josh Schaffner. Has consistently been a couple of hundredths a lap quicker than Schaffner for the last few, but it hasn't necessarily been enough that Wyszynski's been able to close in any meaningful distance. But if he can continue to kind of chip away, he could potentially get 3rd place by the time stage 1 ends in about 15 laps time.
Yeah, Travis Manning definitely putting on a clinic in the early stage of this race. Interesting to see how his tires are going to actually hold up. Chris Johnson, he's just tucked right back there, and I tell you, based on his past performances, he's really not the car you want to see in your rearview mirror.
He certainly is. I mean, Chris Johnson has had quite the outing the last couple of races. Of course, had a few run-ins with particularly the JBR crew over at Martinsville a couple of weeks ago. Had a much cleaner outing 1 week ago at Phoenix, where he, of course, won the last race. So he is going to be looking for a solid result here, but Travis Manning has consistently been a thorn in G&G's side, particularly because he is, of course, part of that frontline crew, a crew that dominated the Super Cup Series season and has so far been dominating the regular Cup Series season as well. So Chris Johnson is definitely going to be looking hungry here to see if he can hunt down Travis Manning. Frontline already leads 1 championship. He does not want them to be able to lead the Tucson Sounder Cup Series as well.
Absolutely not.
And how about further in the back here, Joshua O'Connor looking up the inside of Brian Watson in the JBR Racing Ford Mustang, trying to see if he can maybe find a little bit of speed. That the 39 car had a bit of a moment earlier on in stage 1, got all sorts of crossed up in turns 3 and 4, managed to get that thing back under, but he's been on a recovery drive ever since. But I have a feeling he does not have quite the space that we saw in qualifying underneath him. He has been struggling to find his way up any kind of time here, and as you can see him trying to reel up Brian Watson, he's just got no speed, no momentum under that 39 car.
Yeah, I think he's probably found himself eating up a little bit on his tires. Maybe that car's not handling quite the way he wants. Might have to see if they're going to maybe make some adjustments there on their tape or something at least. That car seemed to be very, very tight early on.
I would check back in with these battles further up the road. That is Kenny Powell trying to keep Chris Severa at bay. The battle 5th and 6th has broken away from guys like Frank Flores just in behind. And Powell has steadily been trying to close up to his team at Wyszynski and has been doing so nicely. There you can see Frank Flores pushed a bit wider out of the last couple of corners. Take a look back up to the battle for 5th place. You got Severa and Powell still trying to close up to Wyszynski and Schaffner. And the way they're running at the moment, they have the potential to do so, right? I mean, they have been consistently at least 2 to 3 tenths quicker every lap. The 4th and 3rd place drivers just up the road.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Some of these guys are in the back are really off the pace as well. So, like I said, we got 10 laps or so before the first stage break. So we'll see exactly how these guys are going to hold on.
I think a lot of these guys are kind of just taking it easy here in these early goings, right? I mean, this is the biggest field we've had in the Tucson Sound Art Cup Series all season long thus far, and it is a field that I imagine is trying to see if they can just get to this race, get a pole in one piece, clean and green. You might see Chris Rivera trying to maybe open up an outside line. I think try to experiment a little bit, right? Find out what works, what doesn't work in these first two stages, so you can really go for it in the stage that really matters, the final.
Yeah, absolutely. No need to push anything here. You just fall in behind the guy in front of you. Conserve your tires. I think that's going to be the big one as we go on, because tire wear is really going to affect how well these cars handle as well as how well they stay on the pace as the 22 car continues to set the pace for us here today.
Severa found the inside, that time by out of turn 4. Kenny Powell, can he complete the pass out of turn 2? Not quite clear. Powell still there and has the draft from his G&G teammate Greg Wachinski just up the road, but Severa is going to look to fight this one out. You mentioned guys wanted to save tires. Severa, I don't think, is among those guys. He is charging up past the G&G crew, gets past Powell, now gets past Wachinski. Powell looking to follow and not help out his G&G teammate. I think he's trying to see if he can get some stage points here. Of course, Kenny Powell, we talked about him earlier on. He comes into this race second place in points, 43 up to Chris Johnson, his teammate, who is just up the road. So this should be a good points outing for Kenny Powell, particularly for the G&G crew, as they get set to maintain their 1-2 in the points.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't appear there's going to be any opposition for those guys. As the sun continues to set, these track conditions are going to change, and that's going to really start to show us the way here as we continue on to the end of stage 1.
And under 10 laps remaining now in this opening stage, Travis Manning still leads the way from Chris Johnson, from Josh Schaffner. This could be an interesting run if Travis Manning can find himself with a solid outing so far today. He's a driver that we've not seen too many times, show up to the Tucson Sound Art Cup Series, but when he has put on a full display of what that frontline Mustang is capable of, and he has just been stretching his legs so far on this run. 3 seconds clear of Chris Johnson. That is a lifetime at a track where the lap times are only 30 seconds long.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be a little bit disheartening for Johnson. I know he likes to keep his nose nice and close to the leader, or be the leader himself.
Sometimes, though, it's good to get a couple of guys you need to compare yourself with, right? You get yourself that competition going. It gets the blood flowing. You can never be necessarily too safe in races like these. Around 5 laps remaining, and how about Chris Severa has caught Josh Schaffner in the battle for third. And I would not be surprised if you saw Severa looking for the inside line of Schaffner coming into turn 1 here. Sure enough, Schaffner takes to the top line. Severa goes down low. Can Schaffner get the crossover down the back straightaway? Has the run, trying to block off the run from Severa, but Severa gets clear, and Schaffner can't do anything about it down the back straightaway.
And slowly and quietly, Kenny Powell go ahead and pull that 24 car up into the top 5.
He's been steadily working his way further and further up throughout the top 5, and now, of course, it's bumped Greg Wachinski down to P6. We get set to see, just how this race could find itself playing out. Just 3.5 laps now left to go here from stage number 1, and 2 more getting set to get underway here shortly. Of course, stage 2 ended at the end of lap 65, and then from there, green flag race potentially to the end of this race. 3 laps to go in stage 1. Battles going on down throughout the top 10. Gary Adamson currently side by side with Paul Regney. That pass gets completed by the 59 Chevrolet out of turn number 4. Adamson looking to charge back for the inside line. The number 36 Ford Mustang with Monster Energy on the hood has been looking to go on a charge, but that inside lane just isn't there anymore. Doesn't have the speed. That is all to the outside line at the moment. And as pit road closes, that marks 2 to go here in this opening stage, and we set to see how these crucial battles could play out. Look out, Frank Flores. Paul Regney is on a charge. Flores trying to hang on to whatever points he can get here, whatever half points I should say that he can get here in this stage. But Regney has got that car dialed in from the top side out. He's looking to take that spot away. Ready will continue to fight that outside lane all the way through 3 and 4 as we start the final trip around the Homestead Miami Speedway. Got Gary Adamson tucked in line just in behind the number 59 Camry, the Mustang. Look to see what he can do in his efforts to try to push his way back up to the front of this thing. But out of turn number 4, Travis Manning comes. He will win the opening stage here for the Cracker Barrel 200 of the Homestead Miami Speedway. Now we just got to wait for that 10th place driver to cross the line of Jay Hone, about half a lap behind. Flores still under fire. Regney trying to close up just behind. Can he get the run out of turn number 4? The run goes to 59, but it's going to be too little, too late. Flores hangs on for 7th.
Paul Olsen's definitely thanking the race gods as he was able to stay on the lead lap.
What a solid run for Paul Olsen that he managed to find himself back on the lead lap. So your stage results: Travis Manning, Chris Johnson. For there you got Chris Severa, Josh Schaffner, Kenny Powell, Greg Wyszynski, Frank Flores, Paul Regney, Gary Addison, and Jay Hone round out the top 10 of the guys that will score points here from stage number 1. So caution flies from Homestead Miami Speedway this time for the first proper time in this race. We'll take a quick step away. We'll be back with stage 2 in just a few moments.
We believe it means more when something's made by hand here at Cracker Barrel, and we hope you think so too. So stop on by. You're always welcome.
Caution flag, pit stops underway for the Homestead Miami Speedway. Travis Manning leads them down. Will he lead them off here, though, Al? I have a feeling we'll have to wait and see here. 4 tires and fuel, I think, is going to be the call for everybody throughout the field.
4 tires and fuel definitely will be the call.
So Manning goes up onto the jacks. Justin Levine in his outing here just a few weeks ago in the Thursday series, or just a few days ago, I should say, the Thursday series, had a really bad run to the pit stops, missed both times his pit box throughout stage number 3. Once just caught off guard by Clayton Hoffman, the other got punted through it. And it looks like there will be no pit stop dramas this time around, though. Travis Manning leads the way out of pit road. So with all that said and done, we'll see if we can potentially dial up your stage 1 winner. Travis Manning, this is Nolan up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, my friend?
Yes, sir.
Well, a stage 1 win, dominating fashion, took it by over 3 seconds. How's that feel for you?
Definitely a good start. I had to go back to work on this car after Thursday, and so far, so good.
And do you reckon you could potentially go on out there, potentially score a stage 2 win, maybe even a race win by the end of the night?
I mean, that's the goal for all of us. Hopefully, I'm just the chosen one tonight.
And of course, sometimes you need a little bit of luck on your side, but right now it looks like luck is not going to be in the picture. You are definitely seeming to wanting to set sail with your race lead before this race concludes. So, before we let you go here, Travis, anybody you'd like to shout out for us here tonight?
Yeah, everyone over at Frontline, of course. Definitely wouldn't be here without them. Bruising Hughes, everyone just helps this 22 Ford Mustang go around the track every week.
Thank you, Travis, for taking the time to join us up here in the broadcast booth. Thanks for taking the time here to join us, and we'll hopefully be seeing you again by the end of this race.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That was Frontline Esports' Travis Manning bringing the home for a stage 1 victory in convincing fashion here. And Alfonso, I can imagine he is going to be definitely looking to see if he can potentially pick up a stage 2 win in about 30 laps time.
Yeah, like you said, they went back and they worked on that front line forward, and it absolutely shows. No one so far seems to have any answers for them. So as we get to go back under green, stage 2, hopefully it'll be more of what we've seen so far.
lights are still on the Irish safety car, implying we will be going around one more time throughout the course of this race. Let's talk schedules, why not? Of course, we are following the A Open schedules, throughout this 2021 Tucson Sound Art Cup Series, and it's going to be an entertaining end to the season. I think it's worth noting, right? I mean, you come over next week, it'll be the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, which is where we're going to be finding ourselves, which should be no doubt an entertaining race. I'd imagine 200 laps is going to be what we can expect to see from the fairgrounds. And of course, Chicagoland Speedway and Richmond round out the season. Got a lot of good tracks coming on up here.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun tracks, challenging tracks, a couple short tracks back to back. So that's going to be interesting to see how it works out.
It certainly will. You got arguably one of the most exciting modern laps out there, Chicagoland Speedway, a brand new short track as of a few months ago, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, which has definitely been extremely popular and has proven time and time again to be good. Then you got Classic Richmond, the 3/4 mile short track to round out the season. I mean, what a phenomenal set of tracks here. Do you think you have any favorites coming into the last 3 races here?
Absolutely. I'm a Richmond driver, hands down. I mean, that is the epitome of short track drive. It's also going to be interesting because this will be the last time I think that we're going to be at Chicagoland. So that's a little bittersweet for a lot of drivers as well.
Well, fingers crossed we'll be able to return there at some point in the future. It's a fan favorite for quite a few guys and drivers out there. I personally love to drive the track. I know quite a few of these guys love to drive it as well. We'll have to see, though, what that final race will bring for us in a couple laps' time. For now, though, green flag waves on stage 2 for the Cracker Barrel 200. Homestead Miami Speedway. Manning gets away. Well, how about Severa with the launch? Able to poke around for second place already. Past Chris Johnson, taking it from the inside line.
Chris Johnson's going to fight back, though, to get that position. As he comes back, he's pushing hard.
And just behind them, we've got side-by-side for 4th and 5th as well. Johnson trying to find the inside. Severa tries to cover. Oh, look out! Severa bobbles! Heads up! Chris Johnson having to scramble up to the top side of the racetrack. Severa lost the run for the bottom. He'll lose the spot as well as Johnson goes round the outside line. You mentioned it earlier, Alan. It plays true here as well. Cold tires on these restarts going to be so crucial to watch out for. Still a cold track temperature, 78 degrees Fahrenheit, and it once again caught out Chris Severa.
And as you say, as we sit here talking, Travis Manning just keeps his nose down, and he continues to stretch that lead out a little bit because his car is handling great, and he loves the fact that that 48 car is back there mixing it up with the 62 because that just allows him to get a little bit further ahead.
So far, we are single file throughout the field, and this time it looks like a bit more of an orderly restart than the initial start of this race was. You've got Severa up on the top side trying to hang on. You got Wachinski kind of running back there in the 4th place. You think he can maybe stick his nose up into the podium spots. It wouldn't surprise if we saw Wachinski potentially see if he could maybe have a run-up for these guys later on throughout this race. You see just on bat, the last car in the strain, Frank Flores, running down in P8 at the moment. Adamson losing a bit of momentum out of turn 4. That puts him under 5 for Josh Schaffner into turn 1.
Yeah, I think Gary's going to want to try to get back up to that high line, but I mean, especially this early on, he seems to be off the pace a little bit. I don't think he should be comfortable down there, but we'll see.
And way down the apron to the point where Frank Flores even had to look past the 36 Monster Energy Ford Mustang. So I think that Adams, it was kind of just letting them through there at the moment, not wanting to fight this one out too much. Waiting for the racetrack to come to him. Further in the field, Richard Elliott just lost out 10th place to Adrian Watts in the battle further down the order. You've also got guys like Paul Regney in the mix of this as well. You see Regney's Toyota Camry looking up the inside. O'Connor is in the mix of this as well. Brian Watson just at the tail end as well, and Regney holding the inside lane still. This time it's O'Connor that's trying to find the outside of 59. As this race goes on, we're going to be seeing that throughout the rest of this race. We're going to be seeing that outside line starting to develop more and more as it gets rubber down. But right now, O'Connor trying to find the speed, but just didn't have any kind of momentum through the middle of 3 and 4. And that allowed for the 84 Brian Watson to go up his inside. So Watson's 84 Mustang for JBR Racing going to find itself up one more spot. Joshua O'Connor still waiting there out of the wings.
Yeah, Watson's just definitely biding his time, just allowing himself to get that track position so that way he's able to hold off that 39 car.
doing what he needs to do to keep these guys in behind him at the moment, as O'Connor going to push maybe around Brian Watson. This time losing the speed for the outside line. Can O'Connor throw one up the inside of turn 1? Doesn't look like he'll be able to. Brian Watson carries the run around the outside group. Now he's the one to try to rip that Larson line right up by the outside wall, and that was textbook from Brian Watson. Not only clears O'Connor by a country mile, but tries to mount a charge on Paul Regney here coming down into turn 3.
He is definitely riding that Lawson line just all the way around the outside. But you just got to be comfortable with your car in order to do it, because sometimes that wall just reaches out and grabs you when you least expect it. So we were seeing how that plays out with these drivers too, as the sun goes down and the track conditions change ever so slightly.
And so far, this is all where the battles are at. Everything up from about 8th place on up is still single filed out. This is where all the battles are, is deeper down here in this grouping, just outside the top 10, which is obviously what you want to see. You want to see these battles up and down throughout the field, right? You want to see them up front as well, but I like the fact that we can start to get these battles further down the order, right? Because it shows that the competition is spaced out across the whole field. Everybody's got an even dancing part of the thing to run with.
Yeah, this is a definitely one of those tracks where there is no set line to run. So, guys are just going to they're going to figure it out. That's what they're doing. And it's giving us some good racing, some good side-by-side racing, some good passes. So, hopefully the fans are getting a little bit of enjoyment out of that.
Richard Elliott finding the inside of Brian Watson in the pass for 11th and 12th. Watson pulls around and is able to secure 11th at the line, but maybe not for turn 1 as secure as he might like. JBR Chevrolet of Richard Elliott still working the bottom line right by the apron. There really are two main lines that you want to try to run here. It's the one right down by the apron, and of course the line right up by the outside wall. It's either the shortest or the fastest way around the racetrack. You see Joshua O'Connor now in the mix of this as well, as Richard Elliott loses more time up to Brian Watson. Now the 39 U.S. Army machine going to have a hunt down the inside line of Richard Elliott through 1 and 2. Elliott continues to maintain his run around the top side, which helps him out on the straights here. But if you've seen much of it, these guys have been closing up at the corners. I'm not sure if that line is going to continuously work out for him.
No, definitely not. You just have to be cognizant of the situation, because this track does change a little bit. That definitely will affect the characteristics of the way the car's handling.
And you saw it right there, right? Exiting turn 4, Richard Elliott definitely had the momentum around the outside line, so caused O'Connor not to be clear by the time he got around for turn 1. But it was such a big run that O'Connor got through 3 and 4 that he wasn't able, or that Richard Elliott was able to pull back in front, but actually got it done beautifully in turns 1 and 2 to hold Joshua O'Connor at bay just behind him. This battle really started to pick on up here for 12th and 13th on the track. And all of this while Paul Regney continues to go on the hunt just in behind that number 59 Toyota Camry. See if he can maybe get a run on some of these guys that Joshua O'Connor up in front of them. You have to wonder, what can Paul Regney do? He is a guy that started this race up in 8th place, but ever since he fell back early on the initial start, he has just not been able to go anywhere with these runs. He has been stuck here well outside the top 10. You wonder if maybe it was just that one lap pace. Some guys, they are really good at hot lapping now, but not so much when it comes to running in traffic.
And so traffic, that's the key thing that you just said, Nolan. So as we continue to stretch these races out, you'll see that the one car, Joshua Watson's back on the race surface. So as the leaders start to catch him, how is that going to affect us once we actually start dealing with lap traffic?
I have to say, I'm a bit surprised to see Joshua Watson out there on the racetrack. He was a guy that we thought was out of this race when he pulled it down to pit road under the kind of a botched initial start. And he now finds himself 46 laps down. You're not getting 46 cautions at a track like this. There's not even enough laps, including re-wet checkers, for him to get on the lead lap. The only way he's making up any spots here at the moment, Al, is by hoping guys in front of him crash out.
And if he continues to be up front, that could be a great possibility.
How about the battle for second place? Looking to pick on up Chris Severa and Chris Johnson. We haven't talked about these two in a while, ever since we switched back to those battles from 10th on back. Chris Severa has been on an absolute tear, though. Qualified 14th place. He is up 11 spots up into third. Definitely the biggest mover we've had so far today, and is trying to find the inside of his G&G teammate, Chris Johnson, just up the road from him.
Yeah, and he's not cutting them any slack. These two guys have been fighting as hard as anybody else has on the track. Their lap times are so close together, so their driving styles are very similar. But those two running, hand in hand is actually kind of just allowed Travis just to keep slipping away. His lead's just, he's solidifying his position here today.
ADC Greg Ruchinski in the mix of this as well, and keep our eyes on this battle here, but you also got Kenny Powell down in 5th place as well, right? So, you got G&G drivers at 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th consecutively. That's about as good a situation as you could possibly hope for if you're a G&G, right? They are in a very strong position where they can potentially battle with each other and not have too much to worry about. It's just Travis Manning that is kind of giving them some trouble just up the road, and we're talking again 2.5 seconds down the road. That gap is no doubt going to extend as Severa looks at the inside and has a huge send on Chris Johnson, pushing up off the apron. As a result of that one, you wonder if they're done playing nice here as teammates. Johnson trying to maybe go for a cutback. This time he will have a look down the inside, down the back straightaway in the run up to 3.
Yeah, this is probably going to be a little game of cat and mouse. Is just going to see how this plays out.
I have a feeling at this point they're more content to battle with each other because they recognize they're not going to be catching Travis Manning on this run. They might have to try something in the pit strategies later on this race, which we've seen this before, right? These guys are able to gain, at the end of a fuel run, about as much as 2 seconds or so per lap on guys in front. So if guys like Chris Johnson can potentially execute an undercut here on Travis Manning, that could make it a bit of a rather entertaining battle coming up to the final few laps here as that pit window gets closer and closer in Stage 3, which of course is still several laps away.
Yeah, the last stage is definitely going to be the stage of the tell-all.
You saw Severa running the outside lane that last time around. I thought maybe Wachinski could have a look at the inside. That ended up not being the case. So far, the number 5 car has been looking to kind of just comfortably sit around there in that 5th position. Look further back, though. Kenny Powell under fire from Josh Schaffner deeper in the field on the exit of turn number 4 and across start finish. That's the battle for the last spot inside the top 5. Schaffner looking to put himself up 1. Kenny Powell missed turn 3, and that allows Schaffner up his inside. Can he clear on the exit of 2, push it up to the wall. Powell's got to run. No room for Josh Schaffner to tuck in line. So Kenny Powell holds on to 5th place for now, but Schaffner going to continue to fight this one out.
Schaffner definitely not going to give up this position. I think he's going to battle Powell hard as he comes on the inside. Powell might try to cross over. We'll see what he does running into the next turn.
And this time, opting not to make a huge lunge. He'll look for the inside line, but I think just kind of taking the line that Powell prefers to take more, from what we've seen so far in this race. Sure enough, Schaffner already well clear. Whoa, up front, how about Severa? Got blocked by Chris Johnson, and that did not stop Severa, though, from hunting to the inside lane. Here comes the switchback from the 48 cars. The G&G teammates start to battle.
And battle they will with that 48 car. He doesn't play well with others.
He's the guy that wants to get all the spots he possibly can, and it's been known before that Chris Johnson, if it comes down to the fact of him getting extra points and playing teammates, he's going to go for the extra points, and I can't say I blame him. As a driver, the moment you roll over and just kind of, play a bit of a doormat, I guess you could say, to guys behind you, your career may as well be over at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with hard racing, and you know exactly where you stand when you come up on a guy like Johnson.
In a situation like this, you're good to battle each other, right? It's not like you're in a fierce fight, at the moment for guys well behind. The closest driver to them is Josh Schaffner, who's currently preoccupied with Kenny Powell, and Manning is well over 4.5 seconds clear. It's evident they're not going to catch him with coming to 6 laps to go in this stage. You may as well have a little bit of fun while you're out there, right?
Yeah, these guys, they're not only teammates, but they're good friends on and off the track. So yeah, they're actually they're doing what they do. They're doing what we came to see. It's beautiful.
Richard Elliott into pit road. Interestingly enough, did not expect to see Elliott coming in this time by. I think got into a quite big action with Paul Olsen as well as Brian Watson through 1 and 2. Back on lap 57, if I'm looking at this correctly. Gave him quite a bit of damage, and now he is coming down pit road for service. This is an interesting call from Elliott. He could cycle through here to potentially take at least a lap back, maybe even a few spots, if he can execute this pit stop nicely. Coming to the end of stage number 3 as Powell is continuing to put Josh Schaffner under fire up in front. With 5 laps remaining, you got to wonder how aggressive guys can be to fight it out for these positions. I mean, you got Johnson and Severa side by side again through 1 and 2 up front, but Johnson's going to tuck back in line out of turn 2. Just couldn't get the hammer down that he needed to. These battles, they start to pick up, don't they? Ever so slowly, lap after lap, until at one point they do tend to reach ahead. And I'm looking at, some other guys. You talk about other teams that are looking to have battles. How about Brian Watson and Joshua Watson further down the field? They were even going at it, a couple of laps ago. So you got all these various battles here between teammates, interesting enough, and picking up all throughout picking up all over the place, really.
Yeah, absolutely. As Kenny Powell attempts to hold off that 5-0 car, Josh Schaffner, as we come to the end of this stage.
You saw they both got a bit loose on the exit of turn 2. Schaffner hunting for the inside now of Kenny and Powell coming through 3 and 4. 3 laps to go in stage number 2.
If there were going to be an opportunity for a caution, I think we were right up on it now because these tires are worn out and these guys are going to be driving hard to try to solidify those stage points.
And of course, don't forget that, of course, a caution comes out now. That ends the stage early. So pit road closes, marking 2 to go here in stage number 2. Severa still under fire from Chris Johnson. Just in behind, the G&G teammates looking to properly fight it out here for these precious few points. Here in stage number 2, Chris Johnson has 43 that he can work with. So he is clear to battle as hard as he would like with his teammate at the moment and still have a nice cushion coming into Nashville.
And Travis Manning is looking like he is going to be the undisputed Stage 2 winner here. Once this guy's just putting on a clinic. That car is on a rail tonight.
It certainly is. I mean, the first stage won by just over 3 seconds. This stage, though, almost 6. He's almost doubled the gap ever since. Now, of course, part of that has to do in part with, the G&G guys battling so hard, but they put on the show for us. Travis Manning has been able to set sail and walk off into the night. Coming out of turn number 4, Travis Manning will be your Stage 2 winner for the Cracker Barrel 200.
Chris Severa in second, Chris Johnson, Greg Wachinski, Kenny Powell rounding out the top 5.
Got Josh Schaffner just behind Jay Holm bringing it home with Frank Flores. Drag race for 9th and 10th. Regni gonna get the run from Gary Adamson to pick up 9th place at the buzzer as the caution flies. So with Stage 2 fully concluded and the caution flag waving, we'll take another quick step away. We'll be back with the remainder of this race in just a few moments.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
Back live from the Homestead Miami Speedway, and yellow flag pit stop still underway. Manny once again led them down. No surprise here if he also leads them off. That is going to be the case. And Chris Johnson able to get Chris Severa at the line as they exit pit road. So Severa loses one to his G&G teammate. Tell you what, the racing battles continue for the G&G driver, no matter what part of the track you're on. Could be even down to pit road. So, with stage 2 now complete in his pit stops, it is now just casually pacing around here. We'll see if we can't dial up your stage 2 runner-up. Chris Severa joins us up at the broadcast booth. Chris, this is Dolan. You got a copy?
Hello.
What a battle for you with Chris Johnson. I mean, you talk about potentially being teammates. Well, it certainly didn't look like it from our perspective.
Now, I didn't get much practice at all this week, so I don't have anything for Travis. So I'm just out here, and me and Chris just agreed to brawl there on that second straight. At least I agreed to brawl. I don't know how much he did, but it was a load of fun regardless.
We gave a good fight to him nonetheless, and we were talking about this as well, about how Travis Manning just seems to be able to set sail at a track like this. Do you think maybe you can kind of work something around to the pit strategy to see if you can get the drop on him?
Unless we get something crazy in strategy, he's got the benefit of pace right now, so he doesn't have to do anything crazy. He can kind of just sit and react to us. But I think I just set the car up too much. I tightened it up too much in clean air, so now whenever I'm in dirty air, I'm just absolutely plowing.
Al, I'll throw this one to you. You got anything for our stage 2 runner-up?
Hey, Chris Severa, this is Al Nixon. Just got a quick question for you. So, is your car handling better on the long run or the short run, and what is your strategy going into this last stage?
Last stage, we're going to take care of the tires as best we can for the long run here. See if we can overcut Travis and have some sort of tire advantage on him come pit stops, but unless something crazy out of the ordinary happens, I don't know if we're going to make it happen, but that's going to be our best bet.
Well, thank you for the insights on that one then, Chris. Before I let you go, though, anybody you'd like to shout out for that G&G Ford Mustang?
Just everybody at G&G who helped get this thing ready. Like I said, I wasn't able to race much, so all the props goes to them. Again, just you guys putting this on week after week. I really appreciate y'all. Yeah, thanks, guys.
And thank you, Chris, for taking the time to join us up in the broadcast booth. Congratulations on a second-place finish in Stage 2. Best of luck in Stage 3.
Thank you.
That was Chris Severa joining us up here in the broadcast booth with the G&G crew. And Al, I have to say, I've been interested by that. They're thinking of maybe going for the overcut. I thought an undercut would be a more viable strategy. You can get so much more on fresh tires over a short period of time.
Yeah, but Mike Tyson said it best. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. So we're gonna see what happens here.
Tell you what, no place will that ever be truer than at a couple of short tracks. That was, the story all throughout Martinsville, right? I don't think I've heard a more relatable quote that could apply to motorsports, and it came from boxing of all places.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we go into this last stage, I do believe track position's going to be key. So we're going to see if guys are going to actually try to fight here at the beginning, or if they're going to actually hold off and fall in. That's what I'm interested to see. Looks like the lights are off on the pace car.
And it is down to pit road. We get set to go racing here for the final stage here at the Cracker Barrel 200. Manny once again with a launch. And Chris Severa side by side with Chris Johnson. Down to the turn number 1. Josh Jovner potentially looking hungry. See if he can maybe pick up a third place from these guys just up the road from his G&G. Looks to duke it out.
Side-by-side racing continues as we're starting to put the first couple in the books.
We start to put more and more of these laps into the books here, and Chris Johnson clears from Chris Severa. Look further in the background. Kenny Powell making the run on Jay Hode, scrambling to the inside line. Flores looking to follow with the trap, but there's no room for Frank Flores to tuck his nose in there. Jay Hone's going to have to fight the outside line. This time, cold tires not playing a factor, and just on cue, lights click on over the Homestead Miami Speedway. We get set to go racing into the darkness here in Miami.
Into the darkness and into green flag pit stop. So if this thing continues to go green, that's also going to be interesting, as these drivers are going to have to go in and get fuel and then also gamble on getting tires. You know, do you take 2? Do you take 4? What are you thinking?
I would think 4 tires would absolutely be the way to go. I mean, at a track that is so abrasive as tires as Homestead, 2 tires is never really a viable strategy. You'll be gaining yourself about maybe 4 seconds or so throughout the pit stops, right? But you're never going to be able to keep ahead with just those 2 tires. You're going to be losing that with about 4 laps. Powell into the outside wall, scrapes along, and he'll lose a few spots.
It's going to be interesting to see how that's going to affect the handling of Powell's car. Because like I said, that wall, she just grabs you and just holds on to you.
You can still see these guys further through. Look at the battle as well. Josh Shaw potentially under fire from Greg Wachinski. And how about Jay Home putting Gary Adamson under some pressure, coming around through turns 3 and 4 this time by. Jay Home's been trying to rip that outside line for quite a few laps now. It hasn't necessarily worked out for him too much throughout stage 2. Looks he's been trying to dial it in a little bit more. He gets the run from Gary Adamson out of the turn 4. See Frank Flores just in the background. See if we can potentially have a look. Flores going to make the run on Gary Adamson here. Maybe trying to find 3 wide of the middle. There's not a whole lot of room, I would imagine, here with not a big run from the shake and bake driver. And sure enough, that gap will close as they exit turn 2.
Adamson likes that low line, especially early on into the run. So he's able to get down there, get his elbows out, and hold off Flores. So I think it might be a 3-wide condition in order to make this pass.
You got the room for the Homestead Miami Speedway. You just need to make sure the drivers are able to let you have a bit of room. And how about Flores really pinching Adamson down towards the low side there? Didn't expect to see that with the shake and bake driver. Usually Flores is a guy to kind of sit back a little bit more and let the track come to him. You don't see him doing a whole lot of the aggressive pinching down to the bottom side. Goes to show that maybe Flores also wants to see if he can get whatever points he can to hang on to a 3rd place in the point standings. He's got a bit of a gap back to 4th, but I mean, that gap, even in just 4 races with well over 40 points up for grabs, that can go away in a heartbeat.
Absolutely, and Kenny Powell, he's still letting you know he's right in the mix of things too. He's not going to go away.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you got Kenny Powell that's looking further in the back here, and of course Powell running P2 in the points at the moment. 43 coming into this race behind Chris Johnson. He was running it right up there with these guys in the battle for podium positions. I find it interesting that he's all the way back in 9th place now, so I have a feeling that Kenny Powell could potentially add a bit of a botched pit stop under this latest stage caution. He'll be seeing if he can maybe reset and try again. Currently in a battle, though, with Gary Adamson for 8th place, and he'll pull around for 8th from that Monster Energy 36 Ford Mustang. Kenny Powell going to be hunting for the inside, trying to maybe see if he can close up to Flores. Still see Jay Hone ripping the top lane right up by that wall, trying to close up to Wachinski and Schaffner down the back straightaway and in fact the front straightaways. He does kind of take a similar line, but it's not enough that he's able to get a proper run up to these guys in front of him. Look at that. Now he's opted to take the low side.
Yeah, any momentum that you lose at this track just takes you so far back. Wachinski's got to be loving what he's seeing in his rearview mirror, because he's getting a little bit of a breather right now since these guys are battling there behind him, but they're closing the gap as well every lap. So it's just as this green flag conditions continue, I'm amazed that Travis Manning he's blistering it, guys. I mean.
And we heard that Chris Severa from G&G say earlier on, they think the only way they're going to be able to make a proper run into him is going to be a potential overcut. So I have to keep an eye on that when we got close around the pit windows here. Of course, that is not going to be for some time yet. The pit window, roughly about 46 or so laps. These guys, they've only been out for about 12 laps or so in this current fuel run. So we're not expecting them to come in until at least, I would say, 40 laps later when we hit lap 110. And Kenny Powell still looking aggressive, this time of the inside of Frank Flores into turn number 3. Flores starting to slip a little bit, trying to defend against Powell into turn 4. Nothing doing, though, for the G&G Toyota Camry. He'll have his way up there, and that Dent Wizard Chevrolet going to have to slip back one more. Reset, try it again Flores still going to try to run the bottom side, try to close up and regain lost time to Kenny Powell, but it's not going to happen. Powell getting set to set sail and work his way back up towards the top 5 finish.
Yeah, Kenny literally hit the wall and bounced back, pun intended, you know.
And now he's got a little bit of clean air to work with here as he tries to close up the J-Hone in that 38 PPG Mustang just up the road from him. So let's see if Kenny Powell can potentially mount a charge and retake a top 5 position. He's going to have to get by his teammate, though, Greg Wyszynski, to do so. So you can still see Gary Adamson looking aggressive here. This is one of the closest gaps on track between Flores and Adamson at the moment. Frank Flores seems to be strong on the short runs, not so much throughout the long runs so far. He's a guy that always likes to kind of run the bottom side, right? I mean, I very rarely have seen Frank Flores slip up towards that top lane so far throughout this race.
Nope, but Gary Adamson, he's just somewhere. I mean, he's running that low line. I mean, that's where he wants to be. He's got his, you know, he's inside. He's happy there. So these two guys definitely putting it on.
And at the moment, Adamson looking to be a bit more patient with this battle here than he was previously in this race. He's going to kind of tuck it in behind Frank Flores. I think maybe see if he can force the 28 car into a little bit of a mistake that could help him get a run further up the field. How about we look back to some of the battles? Look at the one just actually at the tail end of your shot there. That was with Adrian Watts in the battle for 10th place. O'Connor's in the mix of this. You got Paul Regney back there as well. That's been getting closer steadily throughout the last few laps. O'Connor's been about 4 tenths quicker than Adrian Watts so far, and looks like could have a run here down to the turn 3 if he could get a good shot. How about Regney, though, stepping out at the inside line? Had to kind of check up for O'Connor as he washed up into a gap. And now the U.S. Army Mustang going to try to fight the outside of that number 39 machine. Regney looking for the bottom, but no space for Paul Regney and no momentum. O'Connor tucking in with the draft to try to get a run.
Little contact there between that 39 car. Well, sorry, not the 39 car, but
59. Got into with Brian Watson a little bit out of turn 4, it looked like, and now Joshua O'Connor looking for the run. And how about that? Going for the swap with Paul Regney. Joshua O'Connor just pulled around, like pulled down and let Regney through. That lets Paul Regney get a charge around the outside line. That has left Adrian Watts completely defenseless. The 59 car going to breeze past both of them from the outside line. Regney goes up in a 10th place now. Unexpected maneuver there for Joshua O'Connor as he left the JBR driver. Adrian Watts completely out to dry there. He's left the door wide open, ready to go through and take it.
yeah, we got a battle going on between Schaffner and Wyszynski.
That's coming around through the start-finish line. Looking for 5th and 4th at the moment on course. Wyszynski holds the inside lane. He is the defending driver. Josh Schaffner up to the top side now. Sorry, other way around. Schaffner was the defending driver, but now that'll go to Wyszynski as he pulls around out of turn number 2, but not quite clear just yet. Josh Schaffner going to continue to fight the outside groove, and we have seen Josh Schaffner able to get some mega runs from that outside lane so far today. Wyszynski potentially could have a look for him, though. If he can get up and clear, he does. Does Schaffner cut to the low side again? Thinking about it, but decides not to go for it. He's going to take that run around the outside again.
Battle heating up between Joshua O'Connor and Brian Watson as they're battling for position there at the back.
And actually, it just been between them. You got Flores and Joshua Watson as well. That's looking a bit tighter now. The 01 and the 28 car, right? You actually see them just side by side up the road from this grouping. So you got, all these little battles that are looking to pick on up now. And how about Frank Flores? He's been doing a phenomenal job trying to keep Joshua Watson at bay. Of course, the issue for Frank Flores at the moment is that Joshua Watson is a lap down car, right? And not by a little bit. We're talking 46 laps up to the lead lap.
O'Connor's on pit road. Don't know what that's about.
Early pit stop from Joshua O'Connor potentially. First one to blink. This isn't unheard of. You are definitely within range at the moment to make it to the end of the race. Field window of roughly 46 laps. You have exactly 46 to go this time by. That is a very bold call from O'Connor as he misses his pit box as well. So kind of falls apart for the 39 car. This is interesting here. I rarely see this taking place in this series here, Al, but I think what he's trying to do is just take that stop early so he fills it up, and now he can just push as hard as he wants at the end of the race.
Yeah, I don't think he was liking the way his car was handling as he was battling back there with Brian Watson. So, yeah, it's an interesting pick call, though. We'll see how that works out for these guys.
How about Kenny Powell and Jay Hone, as well as Chris Vera and Chris Johnson? You got two different battles here that are looking to pick on up. Well, let's keep an eye actually on this one up for second and third place. I mean, Chris Vera has been consistently a bit quicker than Chris Johnson the last few laps, been pulling away by about 3 or 4 tenths. I'm going to be honest here. I think at this track, Chris Vera has been the quicker of these two drivers. I mean, Chris Johnson just hasn't really been in full form tonight. I mean, he's a guy that we usually see kind of setting sail and just walking away with these race wins. But he has been given quite the fight by Severa, and now, a few tenths a lap slower than Severa consistently. You never know. Looks like a chink might be starting the show in Chris Johnson's armor.
Yeah, that last lap, though, he was, he's still off a little bit. That is interesting. What do you reckon? You think he burned his tires up a little too soon? Or, I mean, where are you at with this?
And potentially, I mean, it's not an uncommon thing to see at a track like this. You just burn all your stuff and try to fight as hard as you can, early on here. It's something that every iRacer makes the mistake of doing at one point or another. The temptation of going for that position when you see a wide open door is often too much to refuse, and you don't realize that you're going to be set up for a long run car. Instead, just behind you, the race goes green, which, as we've established time and time again, is definitely not an uncommon sight in this series.
As our leader, Travis Manning, continues to set a blistering pace, he is now actually starting to catch up to the tail end of the field. So once we actually get into traffic, we'll see if that actually slows him down or if he's actually going to be able to maneuver his car and keep his pace.
So Travis Manning running up there in that race lead and has continued, as always, to stretch that thing out. We're talking 3.9 seconds, about to be 4 potentially. If he can continue to get a good run here, up for Chris Severa, who is 4 seconds behind him now. I mean, unless that overcut strategy that Severa kind of teased earlier on really pays off, all Travis Manning has got to do to secure a race win here is just kind of keep that in nice and safe, and he's going to be good to go. Got Kenny Powell and Jay Hone looking to battle as well for 6th and 7th place, just down the order. That's been kind of closing up just a little bit more the last little while. Hone still running to that Larson line right by the wall. And Kenny Powell usually runs the inside groove. He's been flirting up with that outside line a little bit more, but he's been opting to take a bit more of a middle groove. Kind of just park his car right in that second groove. And it's been working for him so far to keep close to Jay Hone, but he's not been close enough to really go for a pass. You can see him closing up here now. If he can continue to follow Jay Hone's line, he'll be up there and fighting before long.
Yeah, Kenny's definitely looking for the speed. You can tell as he's just searching that track, trying to find that fast line.
Estimated 46 laps the fuel run. There is about 28 laps or so now that these guys have logged onto their fuel stints here. So I have to say, at the moment, I'm thinking it's going to be about another 15, 16 laps where you see everybody coming down properly. How about further behind? You got Frank Flores under some serious pressure from Gary Adamson in the battle for 8th and 9th place. And actually, as I say, that cutter, talking about cutting away at a bad time, Powell making a move up on Jay Hone just up the road. So apologies for that one. That's my fault on my end. So Kenny Powell does have the overspeeder for Jay Hone. Hone for the first time, really all race, going to go to the low side. Can't clear, though, and Kenny Powell going to get the run around the outside line down the back straightaway. And Hone going to continue to fight the inside groove here. Not going to push up to the wall out of turn 4. I think might have to let Kenny Powell have it here and yield in this battle for 6th place, though still there for turn 1, so he's going to try as he may. I have a feeling, though, that Kenny Powell will be able to get that spot before too long. And sure enough, down the back straight of that last time by finally does clear. Jay Hone tucks in line, and this time Kenny Powell will now get set to cruise away with that 6th place. You reckon now maybe he can run down Josh Schaffner?
He's got nothing in between him but air and opportunity. And Powell car does. It seems to be handling well. Yeah, I think he definitely can.
Speaking of Josh Schaffner in a bit of a battle now with Greg Wyszynski. That gap has been steadily closing down the last little while, and now Schaffner going to look for the inside of turn 3. Dive bombs Greg Wyszynski up into turn 3. Will it be enough to clear? Will he slide up? He's going to have to slide up. Wyszynski going for the switchback. Lost too much time, though. Checking up, though, for him. His lap counter ticks into triple digits. There'll be 34 laps to go this time by the line. Time is running out. At this point, if you come down, you're definitely going to be good to go throughout the end of this race.
Pit window.
Now Wyszynski. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Got a lot of guys going to be... This is the time now. We're going to see if guys are going to come early on to get those 4 tires, or if guys are going to stay out and come in later, so they can run harder for the last couple of laps. What would you do?
Well, I think the strategy would need to come in now, because speak of the devil, here comes Wyszynski, Powell, Hone, and potentially more. Regni's also coming down pit road this time by. So talk about hitting it on the nose right there, Al. I mean, you called that pit window to perfection. As soon as you open it up, Powell made the call to come on in.
This is going to be what wins the race. Green flag pit stops. You got to get in that box. You can't overshoot it. You can't speed. So we're going to see how drivers come on pit road, how they get off, and how they can actually get back onto the running order.
Whoa, Schaffner, all sorts of squirrely deeper in the field just behind you. You saw him kind of fishtailing as he got closer to pit road, trying to just keep that thing under control while slowing it down in time. And now you get a good shot at pit exit. As some of these drivers start to cycle through. Travis Manning has yet to come on in, so Severa still thinking about going for that overcut, but some of the G&G drivers like Powell and Wyszynski opted for the undercut instead, and Wyszynski lost so much time to Kenny Powell on pit road there. I mean, there was about 2 seconds between them on the track when they came in, but Powell was so much more aggressive on pit entry that Wyszynski lost almost all of that time immediately just from the pit entry alone.
And what you're hoping now is you're hoping that there's no caution at this point. The leader still hasn't pitted, but you're just wanting to be able to get out there, get back in line, get back up to speed, and not actually have to deal with a caution.
JBR drivers Brian Watson and Adrian Watts both come into pit row this time by. Wyszynski passes up Josh Schaffner on course. Kenny Powell going to get stuck behind Josh Schaffner, although he'll be able to find his way to the inside this time around. Schaffner fresh out of pit road here. Oh, Powell slide for the inside. That was almost a caution there that they do not want. It was almost caused by Kenny Powell. Stepped that back end out, but wrestled it back.
That's a good save by Powell. I understand that. Bet you he probably got to change his shorts a little bit on that one.
And now there are just 3 drivers on track that for sure need to come down the pit road. Those guys are Travis Manning, Chris Severa, and Chris Johnson. I should say 3 guys at the lead lap at least. The only other driver that needs to come down is Joshua Watson, but of course Watson over 40 laps down. And Chris Johnson down to pit road. He'll blink first with the top 3. Going for the undercut on Travis Manning. And this could be crucial here. Travis Manning, I imagine, could potentially respond here coming around through turns 3 and 4. Does the frontline driver come in to respond to the undercut, or does he stay out a little bit longer? He is going to respond to it, trying to come in. Look out for the pit barrel, though. Locks up the front end and just gets that thing stopped in time.
Yep, the leader's on pit road. That leaves one driver left. And
it is Chris Severa, the last driver out there that was looking to potentially stay out there. He was the one that was talking about potentially going for an overcut, right? Thinking about maybe getting the fresh tire advantage later in the race for longer. Well, now Severa is in overcut territory. He's going to lose some significant time here while Travis Manning is on the fresh rubber, but if he can come out with a couple of fresher tires, he might be able to close it a little, but I don't know if it'll be enough to probably run it down. I don't even think Travis Manning is going to go a full lap down here, because Manning is now out of pit road, and Severa is still coming out through 1 and 2. Travis Manning is going to be potentially clear here. We're going to see Chris Severa just behind him. There's Severa, your current race leader. Does he put Manning a lap down? Manning comes up, and it will not be the case. Travis Manion looks to potentially maintain the lead lap here through that pit stop.
That's really not going to play into the 62's favor. 62 pit road.
Making the trip in. 4-tire lock-up slide for Severa down in the pit road. The last driver to blink. So Manion will easily cycle through to the race lead. Where's Severa going to cycle out, I wonder? That could be the question here as to whether this overcut is worth it. You see one by one these drivers getting their laps back over on the left-hand side of your screens. Severa up on the jacks. He will take his 4 tires and fuel service. And out of pit road. The driver to watch is going to be Chris Johnson, who's out of pit road. He's going to be clear Severa by a country mile here.
Yeah, not Severa's best pit stop. Definitely not. Actually, one of the slower pit stops at 14.5 seconds.
So the overcut doesn't look like it paid off for Chris Severa. Up the road, Chris Johnson looking to find the inside of Greg Wyszynski. What is now the battle for second place on the racetrack. And Chris Johnson will find the inside line now of that number 48 car. And Wyszynski will have to settle this one in for second place as Johnson is through.
And Severa continues to slide.
Comes out fully in 6th place. That is about the worst possible spot for Severa to be trapped at the moment. The overcut has not worked. Not the run that Chris Severa was wanting or hoping for. You'll have to hope that Manion encounters some kind of struggles later on in this race. But with how consistent Travis Manion has been so far, I mean, he's just going to be able to set sail and walk away with this one.
Yeah, definitely. It's Manning's race to lose. It's Manning's race to give. The only person that can stop that 22 tonight is the 22 himself. So,
25 laps remaining for the Cracker Barrel 200. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with the final 20 laps or so in just a few moments.
We believe it means more when something's made by hand here at Cracker Barrel. And we hope you think so too. So stop on by. You're always welcome.
Still green flag race with the Cracker Barrel 200. The only cautions for stages so far on the night. The main story so far was that Chris Severa, who was a guy that was looking to potentially pick up a second place finish, botched an overcut strategy, down in 6th place at the moment, leaving it up to Chris Johnson to finish it out in P2 for the guy Sinai. Severa's not going to be done fighting yet, though. Looking around the outside of Kenny Powell. And now that puts Severa back up into the top 5, which is by no means a bad run, just considering that he started this race, a bit further down the field, all the way down in 14th place. But I mean, when you think about how far up he was, up in 2nd, I think he might be kicking himself at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know, Nolan. Like you said, they really didn't have a lot of opportunities to put a lot of laps down, and he was just out there to just, they're going to see what they could get. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, this obviously didn't work out for him, but he's still very good showing for that car today.
Saw Paul Olsen move down to the inside line, just letting lap traffic through. Josh Schaffner up on the top side. Could be under fire for Severa. So it looks like the overcut was good for one thing. He's got some fresher tires than some of the guys that came down first in this pit stop run. Josh Schaffner was, of course, among them. As you see Watson exiting pit road. Severa going to look for the outside lane. He'll pick up now a 4th place finish. The podium isn't out of the question yet. He could actually get Wyszynski, or he will get Wyszynski, or actually, now that I mentioned it, a second faster this last lap by than Wyszynski alone. Severa is on a charge. I don't know if he'll get Chris Johnson, but Wyszynski easily here, already on the back end of his G&G teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. He is the man to beat right now. He's putting down the fastest lap times. So yeah, those fresh tires, he possibly will get back up to 3rd or 2nd. Possibly could pull a podium out of this.
Severa is through up into the 3rd position. Schaffner taking the slide just behind them, stepping that back end out and kind of had to wrestle that thing back to the apron a little bit before back up to the wall. Got a bit close for Josh Schaffner. A caution now is obviously the last thing that Travis Manning wants, right? I mean, he is so, like, far gone in the race lead, but we're talking 4.6 seconds, easily able to eventually work his way up even further before the end of this race. A caution comes out now, all of that is gone, and that could be a huge game changer.
Yeah, right now we're going to see how quickly that 62 car can close down at 48.
Battle's on for 11th place, by the way. Brian Watson and Adrian Watts are both looking to potentially do battle. Just in behind, you got 11th and 12th that are looking to potentially tango here. So Adrian Watts in the number 08 could have a bit of a run here for that 84 car potentially before this race is over. Once again, I want to show that you do have, the competition that can go out all the way throughout the grid. It's not always up to the guys that are right up in the lead here, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of racing going on all over this racetrack tonight. And some of these battles might actually affect not only the status of the race, but the outcome of the race as well,
And around the outside line, this time by through 1 and 2. Here comes Joshua Watson, a guy that already came down pit road once tonight and still so many laps down, just dicing his way through his JBR teammate as well as the guys that he's currently racing with. You got Brian Watson, Adrian Watts, of course, 2 other JBR teammates that have been doing a good job so far, putting in a solid, consistent performance today. It might not be the strongest, but it is a very consistent one. They got Travis Manning, the race leader, just behind them. And we've seen how G&G feels about, battle amongst teammates. They're more than willing to do it. You wonder if Adrian Watts will be willing to do the same here with Brian Watson?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's racing everywhere today.
Battled on for 5th and 4th place as well. Josh Schaffner going to be put under fire from Greg Wyszynski potentially. The number 5 Chevrolet has been steadily closing on up to Josh Schaffner just up the way. And Schaffner to run the lip now. Can he potentially put the pace down and try to keep Wyszynski behind him? That'd be a big ticket question here at the moment, as now well under 20 laps remaining. And it's going to be a big question now as to, how could the rest of this race, play out for these battles further up in the top 5, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot going on up here in these little groupings, but it's these little battles that you always have to look out for, because the late race caution, it can so frequently come in a place where you wouldn't expect it, right?
And a late race, and that's really going to be the tell right there. If we can keep this thing green, it ends differently than even one caution.
Wyszynski trying to look up and maybe keep O'Connor behind him. Of course, O'Connor being a lap car, it's not a good situation for Greg Wyszynski when he's trying to close up to Josh Schaffner, right? But, I mean, you never know. A lap car that could actually be beneficial. If you can let him through at the right time, you could use him as a bit of a drafting partner, right? Use it to kind of help you work your way up to the guys up in front of you. That might be what Wyszynski's looking to do here, as O'Connor's going to go through. Wyszynski will have to tuck in line. This could actually play out nicely for Wyszynski in his bid to try to get Josh Schaffner up the road from him. Unfortunately, Wyszynski was still alongside with O'Connor when they got around to the turn 4 exit, which kind of saw him fall down a little bit more. It's not been the case with Josh Schaffner, who's been looking to kind of be in a bit more of an easier place up the road. If you can let him through here on the exit of turn 4. Oh, bit of a loose moment that time by for Schaffner once and twice. A twitchy car for the number 50 Chevrolet, it would appear. So O'Connor's going to go through, but Schaffner not as stable as I think he might like to be. And now you've still got Brian Watson and Adrian Watts there, still nice and tight with each other as well, with coming up to what will be 11 will be 11 laps to go this next time by here. You got Adrian Watts, still the follow driver. Brian Watson, still the leading driver. The 84 and the 08 have not been looking to fight it out so far, but Watts has been steadily closing in with these runs so consistently over the last few laps. So what do you think? Do you think maybe Adrian Watson will be able to have a look for Brian Watson for 11th place before this race is over?
Yeah, I've been watching those too, and I honestly believe he's just biding his time. He is just literally, and he is waiting on Watson to make a mistake. And as soon as he does, he's going to make his move.
And you talk about guys trying to swap spots. How about Chris Severa and Chris Johnson just making the trade down the front straightaway? Severa now up to P2 with 10 laps remaining. That's a bit of a surprise when I thought Chris Johnson was going to be a bit further up, but Chris Severa has worked his way back up to where he started. That was in second place when he first came down, but with over 8 seconds up to Travis Manning, or excuse me, 6 seconds up to Travis Manning up in front. I mean, unless he can close up about 2 seconds per lap, or really about half a second per lap, he's not going to be able to catch Travis Manning in time.
Well, Manning still got to contend with lap traffic, so hopefully he'll get the leaders pass, right?
Manning's lap last time by dealing with some of that lap traffic was a 33.864. Severa's a 33.688. So closing in, yes. Closing in enough, no. I'll say this, though. It was a phenomenal effort from Chris Severa to commit to an overcut strategy and see if he can make it work. And to his credit, he made it work where he could, right? I mean, he worked his way up for 6th place, picked his way back up through the field through his own teammates up to 2nd place now. So overall, it could be a lot worse for that Ford Mustang.
Yeah, definitely. I do believe his pit strategy has played out in his favor. Like you said, he's back up to 2nd place, and it's just, catching Manning. That's been the story of the night, catching Manning, or chasing Manning, I should say.
And now Travis Manning able to extend his gap out to over 7 seconds once again over Chris Severa, excuse me. Again, going to show that there is just nobody that can even contend with Manning at the moment. I mean, he has just put on a master class of a performance here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. I mean, you cannot ask for much more than this, right? Fastest lap of the race? Absolutely. Won stage 1 by over 3 seconds. Won stage 2 by over 7. Looking to lock out the stage win with an over 7-second gap as well. That is a perfect possible day for Travis Manning, not to mention getting the pole.
Yeah, that's what we call that's a triple-double, right? Hat trick, triple-double. We need to come up with something to call that.
We'll call it the hat trick. 5 laps to go in the Cracker Barrel 200 from the Homestead Miami Speedway. If you've been joining this race so far, consider subscribing to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitch, or, of course, following us on Facebook as well. Wherever you happen to be watching our live stream from here tonight, I'm Manolo Rempo with Alfonso King, bringing me all the action tonight from start to finish. Rob Melnick down behind the cameras, as always, for tonight's presentation. It's been a phenomenal race so far. Tonight, caution-free so far, despite having the biggest grid we have seen so far here in this 2021 Tucson Sound Art Cup Series season for the Iverson Stock Car Association. 1 week's time, we swung on over to the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway for what could only be described as a barnstormer of a race. The half-mile short track has proven before that even with small fields as low as about 13, 12 cars out, that track can still provide some of the best short track racing you can find on the surface.
As Frank Flores goes a lap down, meaning there are only 8 cars remaining on the lead lap.
The 8 cars remain on that lead lap at the moment, and with 3 laps to go, it could potentially go down as much as 7 cars on the lead lap. He has been catching Gary Adamson just up the road so much. I mean, and we're talking 7/10 quicker than Gary Adamson running here. You ride aboard Travis Manning, and you can just take a look at how fast he's been able to close up here to Gary Anderson. I mean, you can see that 36 car just getting closer and closer throughout that windscreen.
Yeah, definitely not the look that Adamson wants in his rearview mirror, but how many cars have actually seen that 22 car behind him tonight? It's just unbelievable. Great run for those guys.
2 laps to go, and he'll move up wide to allow Travis Manning through on the low side. 7 cars are set to finish this race on the lead lap. The Next car up is Richard Elliott, who is already 3 laps down, or 2 laps down, going to be going 3 down as it sits at the moment. And we get set to start the final trip around the Homestead Miami Speedway here in Florida. And now I have to say, just an absolute masterclass performance of Travis Manning. I think he's well earning of a spot in victory lane here tonight.
No doubt. He definitely put on a clinic tonight. They've got to give a hats off to the 22 car and those guys over there at his team. Congratulations to the win for those guys.
And as he comes around through turn numbers 3 and 4, he was fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying. One stage 1, stage 2, led every single lap that he wasn't in pit road, and now he wins the Cracker Barrel 200 in about the most dominating fashion you can possibly imagine, short of lapping the entire field. But how about Chris Severo? Tried the overcut attempt, and at the end of the day, only good enough for second place, but considering he started down at 14th, that's still not a result to be disappointed about.
Chris Johnson finishes third. Josh Schaffner bringing fourth with Greg Wachinski coming in fifth.
You see Kenny Powell down in 6th place with Jay Hone in 7th to round out the guys on the lead lap. Gary Addison was in 8th place with Frank Flores in 9th. Paul Regney down in 10th position, 1 lap down. Brian Watson and Adrian Watts down 11th and 12th place. They were looking to do battle in the closing stages. Joshua Connor 13th with Paul Olson in 14th. Richard Elliott, Joshua Watson, and Martin Bourquet round out a 17-car field here from the Homestead Miami Speedway. What a phenomenal run from everybody out there so far as Travis Manning gets set to join us up here in the broadcast booth. And there is no better way to put this, Travis. We watch you start to burn that thing down to the front straightaway. You were the fastest guy in practice, qualifying all 3 stages, fastest lap of the race, most laps led. You can't get a more dominated performance than that.
Man, it's definitely nice to have. His car was just so good. It was just made everything effortless. All I had to do was keep it clean, drive the wheels off of it, and unbelievable. And this is awesome.
And you, of course, haven't been around so much, throughout this Saturday Night Cup series. But do you potentially intend on sticking around a little bit more going forward? I mean, you've shown that you are more than capable of giving Chris Johnson a run for his money.
Yeah, I definitely would like to be on as much as I can. Just work and life has definitely caught up to me lately, and trying to get there as most I can. I mean, I plan on finishing the season out, but I said that back in Texas, and I haven't made it back till tonight. So definitely would like to get back. Just got to make it happen.
Well, fingers crossed you'll be able to find your way up into hopefully throughout the rest of the season before long, and hopefully we'll be able to have you racing here on a more regular basis as well. Before I let you go, though, Travis, anybody you'd like to shout out for that Frontline Esports number 22?
Absolutely. Frontline Esports, obviously wouldn't be here without them, so appreciate them. Bruising Q's, everyone makes it possible. Really appreciate them. It's definitely nice to pull off something like this with them on board.
And thank you, Travis, for taking the time to join us up at the broadcast booth. Congratulations on a master class performance from Homestead, and best of luck next week at the Nashville Fairgrounds.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And thank you guys, everyone, ISCA, everyone on the broadcast booth. Appreciate it.
We'll move things on down now to the second step on the podium. Chris Severo joins us up here in the broadcast booth. And, well, Chris, the overcut didn't quite work out as intended, but still, 14th place. Finishing it at home in second. Most spots gained out of the course of the day with a total of 12. That's still not a result to be sad over.
Yeah, no, we'll take it. Like I said, we had to try something to have any chance there at the end, but Travis just had the pace all night. So still top, podium, not anything to scoff at. So I'll take it.
Next race up, we find ourselves swinging on over to the Nashville Fairgrounds. Of course, a half-mile short track, and we know how short tracks are a whole other beast compared to these mile and a halves. Do you reckon you'll have anything for Travis Manning or even Chris Johnson coming on over into another half-mile track?
I love the short tracks. I think it's the best package that this car has anymore. So I don't think I've done much racing on there, but it'll be something to get to, and definitely look forward to it more there than Homestead.
Well, fingers crossed, and that you're going to be able to find yourself with a solid run coming over to Nashville in just 1 week's time. Before I let you go, anybody you'd like to shout out again for your number 62 G&G Chevrolet, or Mustang, excuse me?
Just everybody again at G&G for helping put the car together. it's just the little tricks and everything that everyone says. It all adds up over the course of the week. Again, you guys, Nolan, Al, thanks for you guys doing what you do. Rob behind the scenes, really appreciate it.
And thank you, Mr. Christopher, for taking the time to join us in the broadcast booth. Congratulations on a second place finish and a hard charge throughout the field. Best of luck next week at the short tracks.
Thanks, guys.
At least just one more to give us a chat here before we wrap things up for tonight. Chris Johnson joins us up in the broadcast booth. And Chris, third place, good result for you. All of your Tyler rivals finishing below you in some way, so you're going to be set to extend your points gap coming out of Homestead.
Yes, sir. The car didn't quite act right today as it did Thursday. Couldn't figure out why. Tried adjusting it in the pit stop, nothing was working. So, and during the second stage, Chris, the other Chris, was flustering me. So, that probably got in my head.
But of course, the next mile and a half up we have is the Chicagoland Speedway. And if you can continue with these good performances, you could be set to potentially lock this championship out before the season finale at Chicagoland. You're going to be putting your focus up more on Chicagoland, or are you going to be focusing up on Nashville a little bit more in just 1 week's time?
I will do it at one track at a time. I ain't too worried about it. What happens. I just show up, run it, hope for the best outcome.
Sometimes hoping for the best outcome is obviously the best possible position you could possibly hope for. Well, Chris, as always, it's a pleasure to have you up here in the commentary box with us time and time again. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to shout out for being fast in that number 48 G&G car?
Of course, Southern Spiral, Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson built one heck of a setup. I just couldn't drive it right this race. And, of course, G&G and y'all up in the booth, Nolan, Al, Rob, Kenny. Appreciate all y'all do.
Thank you, Chris, for taking time out of your night to coming up here and join us in the broadcast booth. Congrats on a third place finish. Best of luck next week in Nashville.
Thank you, sir.
And well, that's going to be all the podium drivers we're going to be able to talk to tonight here, Chris. But as we get set to lock this broadcast out, and of course, 1 week's time is the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. So, of course, Mr. Alfonso King, I'm going to pass things back over to you. And I have to ask, what do you think we can expect coming over into what could be a wild short track race?
I think short track racing is going to bring out the best next Saturday night and possibly the worst. I guarantee you this. Please tune in because it's going to be exciting. Thank you guys again for the opportunity. Thank our sponsors. Thank you, Nolan. Thanks, Kenny, for giving us a chance, and a great race, guys.
And it could be a very fun run for us coming over in just 1 week's time at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, where, of course, we're going to be seeing what it's like to go beating and banging once again for some good old-fashioned short track fun in Nashville in just 1 week's time. We'll see you guys later.